So if you're actually, if you've actually ever imagined when I'll give you the analogy about if anyone's ever jumped out of a plane for the first time, and you've got your parachute on, you're sitting, and the closer you are getting, you go up the plane, you're probably feeling a little bit of unease, and as you get closer to actually the door before you jump out, you're going through that stage where you're now getting, your hands are getting all clammy, your breathing probably gets more shallow, and all of a sudden fear starts to set in. Now you've got two choices. You can either go back, all right, and stay in your comfort zone, or you can actually jump out the plane. And the moment you jump out the plane, you've actually transformed, because you can never be that same person again, because you've experienced that. All right? So the thing is, when you talk about people who are resilient and actually push past that comfort zone, all right, and they've overcome that fear, all right, no matter how bad it's got, they actually transform into actually a better person.
They're becoming...
All right? Because they've already experienced that, because now that's part of their subconscious. You look at someone like Walt Disney, who was bankrupt. He went through nervous breakdowns. But the thing is, he still pushed forward, and because he became stronger at the end of it, and yes, he had his challenges, but look, he created something that is so phenomenally transformational in this world, like the Disney brand.
Purely by chance, and you can't use that.
There's a little bit of luck involved.
You can't use that as an example.
It's not by chance. He decided to create it. He decided, he sat in his, for those of you who know about the Disney his strategies, he used to have 3 rooms. Do you know about the 3-room strategy? So he had a 3-room strategy. So in the first room, all he ever discussed with his people I think it was called the dream room or something. And all you did was dream up the most incredible, out of the box ideas. They didn't even have to be realistic. All right, it was anything, and he called his team Imagineers, I think it was. So people who could imagine and who were also and could engineer it, and they decided to create, just come up with wild ideas. Then they went into a second room, which was a change of environment, and in that second room they decided actually the first room was all about why not be able to do this, and the second room was actually how do we do it. So the thing is, you weren't allowed to discuss any problems or anything. How could we make this happen? From that idea, how can we make this happen? And when you went to the third room, that's when you critiqued it. And when you decided actually what are the holes in it. All right? And the thing is, if you did, and his philosophy was that if you did everything in that first room and critiqued it in the first room, nothing would ever go off the table.
Correct.
All right, because you'd knock it out of the idea. So that's how created it. But anyway,
that's a very good idea.
We're digressing a little bit.
There are many talented, driven people who never make it and end up in the gutter. Success, the most important part of success is luck. And that's why I'm saying it's immaterial to use specific people as an example.
There's an element of luck.
It's exactly the principle behind the marketing of the lottery. They only ever advertise people who won the lottery. If you actually spent the same amount of time on people who played and lost, who didn't win, and you gave them the same amount of advertising time, you need to spend something like 90 years constantly watching the TV for one lotto draw.
Do you know?
And if you did that, you'd never play the lottery.
Do you know? It's not just luck. Actually, luck comes from preparation and opportunity together.
Plus luck.
Of course, it's plus luck. I mean, you take someone like Margaret Thatcher. All right, she went to Oxford University and she became president of the Conservative. Hold on. She became president of the Conservative Association over there. The thing is, she was originally rejected by Oxford University. It just so happened that someone gave up their place or they couldn't attend, and she took their place. But the only reason she got the opportunity, luck, if you want to call it, is because she'd actually done enough to get into Oxford University.
What would have happened though if that hadn't happened? What would have happened if she didn't have the opportunity?
She may have just worked in her father's greengrocers.
That's it. You
All
see?
right, we don't know.
It's luck. You need luck plus the ability plus the hard work. That's the whole point.
Look, but the thing is, preparation is key in all this. Well, whatever it is, preparation is key, and preparation, and the thing is, we talk about environment. If you're not happy with your, if you want to change your life, guys, quickest way is change your friends. Change where you live. Change the pattern of where you're living in life at the moment. All right, because that's the only way things are fundamentally going to actually change. The quickest way. And I'm not saying they can't change. The quickest way is change your environment, who you hang out with. There was a guy called Jim Rohn who actually said you become the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. If you want to be a millionaire, hang out with millionaires. If you want to be a sports person, if you want to be mentally tougher, hang out with mentally tough people. And you do raise your standards. So I disagree with Theo a little bit on it being genetic. There is a level where people actually have a natural temperament, but that can be used in effect, because if you actually, as I said, if you look at Carl Jung's, not Carl Jung's, like something like Myers-Briggs or Dr. Kelsey's or some of these other psychometric profiles out there, what you do is you tend to find that there's been successful people in all 16 of the personality temperaments that are out there. So the thing is, it's about finding your flow, because let's face it, if you swapped Warren Buffett with Steve Jobs and put them in each other's environment, they'd probably both crash and burn. It's about being self-aware as to what you're good at, what your talents are, and how you adapt that. I'll give you an example. When I first started this business, I'm what's called in Dr. Kelsey's profile a rational field marshal. And when you have to do all your work on your own, it becomes very difficult, because field marshals aren't great at doing that. They need people that they can actually outsource the work to. So you actually have to learn to adapt to that. But
nevertheless, I agree with all of that. But the great minds say you are who you are. You can modify, you can bend a little bit, but you are who you are.
You can't bend as far as other people.
And even super successful people, they admit. Remember, I sent you the link to this Nick chap who's one of the richest guys in the world and started off with Amazon investing and so on. And he said, you know what? The main thing is I've been stellarly lucky. If I was living another life, I could have been some bozo on the side of the road. It's just luck.
But he still had to work at it.
Plus he said, yes, I have a certain ability to predict
do you think
things.
him sitting on Netflix every single day is going to get him to success? On luck?
Well, indeed. But obviously those are people guaranteed not to succeed. But the rest of us who try and we graft, the level of our success will depend to a large amount according to luck.
You're saying to people, do you know what? Hang in there. You may get lucky.
No. The point is, be self-aware. You can optimize yourself, but anything more than that depends on luck.
Okay, look. As I said, it's more than luck, and I'm saying. So I wrote a professional impact profile, which and I'm gonna big myself up here. It's gone to 23 different countries so far, and basically, I came out with it's called the diamond status process, and it's about becoming a diamond status person, and you do that by raising your status in the marketplace. And there's 6 things you actually need to have for that. 1, you need to be able to have influence, which means developing the right connections, giving value, things like that. The next one is about marketing, which is ultimately about visibility and getting yourself out there and getting attention. The third one is personality, and this is about getting your talent, which is in flow, which is ultimately what we're really talking about here. It's finding what you're good at, because let's face it, just because not everyone's going to become an astronaut if that's what you want to be. Not everyone's going to become a professional footballer. You've got to be able to have the talent to be able to do that.
Self-awareness, as I keep on saying.
It's about self-awareness. So personality is a big factor. What are you passionate about? I argued with someone yesterday about, he says, oh, actually, business is business because all the fundamental rules are the same. But ultimately, if you're not passionate about what you do and you're not on your right path.
But you see that.
Hold on. If you're not on the right path, what happens is you're not going to be motivated enough to actually continue that.
Agreed.
All right. So I know. I just want to finish this one off. So your personality is a big factor about finding the right fit. Jim Collins wrote a book called From Good to Great, and he talks about something called the Hedgehog Principle, and he talks about you need 3 things to actually succeed. You need passion, It's got to be financially viable, and you need mastery. And those three things is actually about finding that sweet spot as to whether, towards success.
Where does Hedgehog come in?
The Hedgehog Principle. Actually, I can't remember that one, actually. But it's a great book. It's called From Good to Great by Jim Collins.
This guy reads a lot, by the way.
Yeah, I do. That's personality. You got to have you got to be passionate about what you do as well, and about find the flow. The next one is appearance, about how you look. This is why I come to the gym every day, because my mother. Funny enough, my mother asked me the other day. I mean, she was an actress in another country, and for her, everything was about image. So she did drill that into me from a very young age. But it's your packaging. So we talk about people being overweight. You see, subconsciously we see people as being overweight, and I am overweight a little bit. All right, but people who are overweight are deemed to be, psychologically, less effective. All right, because they lack discipline, they lack mental toughness, they lack that resilience that we talk about. Doesn't matter whether they do or don't. It's the fact that because we see them as overweight, we see them as lacking discipline, and we see them as not being mentally strong to be able to hack it.
And here's the weird thing: if they are super successful, then their weight gives them presence, whereas if they're not successful, then their weight gives them weakness.
Actually, I've only ever seen a couple of people have been super successful, in that respect. But anyway, so appearance is a huge factor, because this is your packaging. This is what you present to the marketplace. It's the same when you go into a shop. You buy something based on what the packaging says. And if people don't, if your packaging says, oh, I'm overweight or something, it shows a lack of strength.
Trump is overweight. His suits just hide it.
He is overweight, but he's tall, and then he carries it. And the thing is, it's interesting, because the thing is, if you're too skinny, you're too frail.
Yeah,
you're seen as too weak.
They had a clip of him playing golf, and he looks like a fat old man.
He is old, but the thing is, he doesn't look obesely overweight. He looks overweight.
I think he just covers it well.
He does cover it well. But it's about packaging. It's about your appearance and how you present yourself. Wearing clothes that fit. The fifth thing is communication. It's how you communicate. You are, like we're talking to you right now. It's about communicating your message to the marketplace. You want success, people. To become influential, you've got to be able to articulate your message in some ways, so people buy into what you're saying. So when you get people who are, most successful people, even the Richard Bransons of this world, have to learn actually to give a presentation to the public. And the thing is, they've got to do it to a standard that people actually believe what they're actually saying, because that's a reflection of how successful you are. And the last thing is tenacity. And when I talk about tenacity, this is where resilience comes in. This is where mental toughness comes in. This is where control comes in. And you need all those elements working together. All right? And yes, and a little bit of luck. But you've got to have those 6 things in flow. By the way, guys, if you want to know more, you can contact me on, send me a message on Andy T. Cumming at info@andytcumming.com. And
what was that? I missed that.
Andy T. Cumming, CUMMING, .com.
Thank you.
And what we will do is I will let you know about taking. Actually, you can take a free impact profile test, which will actually give you a start point for that level of awareness. But yeah, a little bit of luck does come in, but luck's not going to come if you don't have the other 6 things in place.
Now, again, those 6 things are necessary for. I disagree with some of it, but
what do you disagree with?
Optimizing yourself.
So what
is about finding
with?
your niche. It's not about constantly pushing yourself. If you're constantly pushing yourself, you're never content. And I know you say that if you're not growing and so on, you're dying. I disagree with that too. The fact is that self-aware people find their niche and they enjoy the journey. If you're constantly lusting after the destination, which is what you encourage people to do, then you're not in control anymore. You're stressing yourself out.
I'm saying you should actually have a destination, because I'm dealing with too many people who haven't got any clarity of where they want to go to, and they just
But then don't sacrifice yourself for the destination.
And they're just spinning in. They're in a circle. They're not going
so you need
anywhere.
a direction, but you don't sacrifice yourself for the destination, which is what modern society encourages us to do every single day.
Really? I've got to say,
it's instant gratification. Nothing is ever enough.
Well, but the thing is, we are guided by the system